All right, folks, here we are. It's the week 6 Razzball Start Sit show. We're waiting on a couple of our buddies to check in, but for right now, I'll bring in my buddy Derek Favret, and we will start this show since it's halftime of the London game. Derek, good morning to you. Welcome
Morning,
to the
Matt.
show. This is a little bit strange for me, right? Having to kick this thing off. I don't know if it's working right.
First time we've been,
Yes.
first time it's just been the two of us on here.
Well, you know what? There may be some emails coming to corporate headquarters that say this is the way people like it, and
Maybe so. Cut off all that glamour and all the radio talk, and let's just get down to business.
We'll get down to business. All right. So we've got some questions that have come in early this morning. Those guys haven't checked back in, but there's no reason to think we can't address them here, and then we can also, if you will, we'll answer them here, and then maybe put the answers in the chat for the guys when they check back in. Patricio he goes by Pat Daddy when he responds to my article, so he reminded me of that this weekend and said he'd check in with us this morning. So here's the deal. Good morning back to you, Patricio or Pat Daddy, however you want to be addressed. I don't think either of these matchups are particularly great, and I already read the question. He's right. But my question is, wide receiver 2, full PPR, Nico or Olave, and currently Patricio is leaning towards Nico. What do you think with these two matchups?
Yeah, for me, I agree. Nico's the play here. He's getting consistent snaps. He's averaging, the bulk of the work for the Texans all year. He's getting the targets. He's he's splitting between both the slot and out wide. So even if we know some teams are a little stronger against slot versus wide, he can play through that. With Olave, Saints are facing. They're at the Texans, so this is back in same game, back and forth. Olave is the bigger name, but I think Nico Collins is the play here.
So do we think the Saints defense is for real? Do we think it's the same defense that we saw destroy the Patriots, or do you think it's more a regression to the mean defense?
There's no question that they're, pretty stout, but, against wide receivers, they're really only middle pack in fantasy points, again, to receivers across the league. They're not nearly as stout as I think we've maybe built them up to be. They're giving up points. They're giving up almost 20 fantasy points to receivers per game. And just a comparison, that's essentially the same as the Bengals and the Patriots. They're right in the same area. And so do you consider the Bengals or even the Patriots to be a stout defense versus wide receivers?
No,
they don't stand out in my mind. They don't, but
the name that keeps coming to my mind is Marshawn Lattimore. He gets
sure.
a lot of prop, but the Patriots can't throw, so I think New England looked better on defensive statistics on paper than they probably actually are when it comes to real football.
Yeah, they are. There's no question that they're very good against running backs. They're 4th in the league, and right there with the Browns against running backs. But no, you can get points against them with your receivers, and I think that's more than anything that to me leans Nico Collins.
All right, so I think we're in agreement. And do you want to do the good morning? Do you want to welcome this guy in? All I'll say is that we started the show with 2 of us, and somebody kicked the door in and welcomed himself without ringing the bell or anything.
Well, quite appropriately, he's down at the bottom.
Yeah,
so
it's true. Hey, guys.
Hi, Robert. How are you?
I'm good, man. I am good. Got a rough start to the day. I had to use the facilities. Sorry, everyone. Poor timing, but it is what it is. But we're here now. And I also wanted Derek and Matt, who weren't on the show last week, I wanted to give you some shine, get people to get to reacclimated. I wanted you guys to have your moment, and I didn't want to be about me. So I wanted to make sure you guys had a few minutes. It worked out perfectly. You guys did great. Great intro.
All right.
You guys are live. I love it.
Yeah, I just wish I would have been able to do the music, right? The music's really when
Yeah.
the touchdown dance happens. I get excited. So maybe in the middle of the show you can pump us up with some music and we'll go from there. But for everybody
You know
that's
what?
tuning in and they're starting to stream in now, you can follow Derek at Derek_Favorite. You can follow Robert at Bobby Lamarco. Apparently all lowercase, which I don't think that matters, but we're good either way. Bobby's camera will figure it out here in a minute. And you can follow me at Styles08 on Twitter or X, whatever you prefer to call it. And Bob, we have already addressed Patricio. We talked about him. He actually commented on my article a few times over the past few weeks. He goes by Pat Daddy there. So what's shaken to Patricio? Brian checked in a little bit early this morning too. What's good, y'all? Good to see you, Brian. Let's get right into your question. Half PPR standard. So I guess that means just half PPR. Pittman, Ayuk, or Gabe Davis. Derek, I'll throw it over to you as Bobby's working out his pseudo technical issue.
Yeah, I have them right in that order. In fact, in my 5 Things to Know article, I had a question on Pittman, and I really do like Pittman this week against the Jaguars. So yeah, I went through rank those. So they're all relatively close in projected points for me, but I do have them Pittman, Ayuk, and Davis in that order.
And I have them in the same order as well. And normally I would have Ayuk first, but as we know, the Cleveland defensive backs are pretty stout, and I'm not sure that this isn't going to be a real ugly, sloppy football game where Ayuk may not. This feels to me like a Debo game, a Debo and a McCaffrey, and maybe a Kittle game where maybe Ayuk takes the week off a little bit statistically. But it's three pretty solid options. I think the top 2 options for Brian are really good. Gabe Davis is certainly a tier below for me, if not a tier and a half or 2 tiers below. So, Bob, any thoughts on these 3?
I'm actually with you guys. With Pittman, we already saw this game in week 1, and Pittman played very well, but the Jags defense is a out wide funnel defense, so they have been allowing a bunch of points out wide. Minshew is a good enough backup to get him the football. I'm not worried about it. Ayuk, the interesting thing is that what I noticed when I was doing my research about the Browns is that the one thing they actually are vulnerable is yards after the catch. They allow the most fantasy points after the catch per reception. So that's Debo, CMC, Kittle, and Ayuk's more the air yards guy. So I think this week I agree with you guys. I would actually lean Pittman over Ayuk. And Gabe Davis is a nice player, but the Giants' defense has actually been pretty good against outside receivers because they just, I don't know. It's just like it seems like a lot of defenses score against the Giants because the offense is so bad. So I'm going to stick with Pittman on this one.
Yeah, I really worry about that game script too with the Bills and the Giants, and there is going to be some weather issues there too. It just, to me, I mean, that is just lining up to be 200 yards of ground yards for the Bills. I don't think they're really going to have to throw that much. So I'm really worried about that game script as well. Not that it changes them in my rankings, but it just actually pushes them a little bit even further down than Ayuk.
All right, Bob, I'm going to turn it over to you. You can start by talking to Mr. Daniel Duong, and I will happily turn this thing back over to you.
Yeah, man. I am going to give me 1 second. Sky should be joining us in about 15 minutes. So
obviously he's going to take a demerit for this, right?
You're all in my after last week. Forget about it. None of you could talk right now, all right? So I'm upset with everybody. Why are these so big today? I feel like I'm like peeking over. Hey, so here's your start sits today. All right, Daniel, what's going on, man? It looks like you're new to the show. I haven't seen you before. That's great, man. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being on. Half PPR. We got London versus Washington, Lockett versus Cincinnati. been struggling with Washington, been getting destroyed by wide receiver ones. We've talked about this on our show earlier this week, Derek, but hard to trust Falcon pass catcher. Lockett has been no floor, essentially eclipsed 60 yards. So basically the question is, Lockett's been kind of your mainstay wide receiver too. Are you willing to take a shot on London this week? Matt, over to you.
I don't love either one. I preferred Lockett where you could draft him at the beginning of a draft season over where you would have had to pay up for London. Desmond Ridder that we saw in week 5 is not the Desmond Ridder that we saw in the other weeks. And I have a hard time trusting him and that offense as being a pass first offense. They're going to run, and they'll pass if and when they need to, and to keep other defenses honest. Cincinnati can't stop a nosebleed through the air. That Cincinnati-Seattle game should just be everything through the air. So I think I lean a little bit Lockett. There's probably not a better option on the waiver wire or on Daniel's bench. So I'm okay going with Lockett in this game, and I'm just as unhappy as Daniel is with having to pick one of these two, because I think I'm disappointed in both of them so far. Derek, what do you think?
No, well, I'm going to disagree with you. I am going to go with London. He is the primary pass catcher. I actually I wrote about Desmond Ridder this week. I like his chances this week to string another pretty solid game together. He had his first 300-yard game last week, and I think he can. It's set up to do something similar today. The Commanders are giving up the second most points to wide receivers as a whole in the league, and London is getting the targets there. In fact, even we saw London and Pitts both do really well last week in their targets, but Drake London, he's the primary target there. 9 targets. 6 receptions for 78 last week against Houston. Houston is a lot tougher than Washington is. So I'm going to actually go London on this one.
All right, Bob, flip the coin, right?
Yeah, it's London for me. I actually do like the matchup a lot this week. I actually wrote about him as one of my starts in my article too. So I actually think that London here, the Cincinnati Bengals defense has been very good against perimeter wide receivers this season. So I'm going to actually I'm just going to stick with the analysis. I'm going to say we know that the numbers say go London, and I think London, if you have him on your roster, and I would go with him this week. All right. Daniel, one more question here. Curtis Samuel versus Atlanta, Cooper versus San Francisco. We have, of course, Curtis Samuel against Atlanta's slot funnel defense, and Mari Cooper going up against that 49ers defense, backup Philip Walker this week. What's your thoughts here, Derek?
Yeah, it's going to be Samuel for me. He, just for the reason you said, slot funnel defense. Samuel's primarily working out of the slot. He and Dotson, but Samuel is getting in most of the run there. His targets have been going up as well, so there's, there's some comfort and some connection building there with Curtis Samuel. So I like the matchup, and I would go Samuel.
Yeah, here's an interesting a stat for you. Did you know that every week so far, 2023, that Curtis Samuel has outscored Jahan Dotson in PPR formats, which would mean probably in half PPR as well? Did anybody see that coming? I didn't. I was much higher on Dotson. So I'm with Derek here as well. I'm going to go Curtis Samuel because I don't really want to start any offensive players against San Francisco until I see a team can actually move the ball and consistently score against them. They embarrassed the Dallas Cowboys, which I love. I would watch that game every Sunday if they would replay it. So I love Cooper, but I just do not trust teams playing against San Francisco's defense right now. Bob, you agree? I'm guessing you agree.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle with this one because Curtis Samuel is like a yards after the catch guy. And the one thing the Falcons really do well is they stop yards after the catch. They have one of the lowest yards after the catch per reception in the NFL, which worries me. And this is half PPR. So if it was full PPR, it'd be Samuel all the way. I think Philip Walker is competent enough to get the ball to Amari Cooper when they're down 30-0. And I think Cooper's going to get some garbage time points. And I'm actually going to go Amari Cooper. I just think, at that point in the game when they're playing prevent defense, I just think Cooper's going to get you a couple lazy 3 catches in the fourth quarter and finish with like 5 for 65 or something. And I think that's going to be a little better than what you get from Curtis Samuel this week. So I'm going against the grain. I'm going to go Amari Cooper this one. Matt, kicking it back up to you on this one. Let's keep going through these questions.
All righty. Here's another new name, I believe, unless you guys saw Phil's last Sunday, but this one seems new to me, which is always good to see new folks. And what is that, Bob? Is that Derek? Is that a puppy? Is that a stuffed animal? What are we looking at here? We always like to get a look at the right next to the name there. I think that might be a puppy. And are we a big dog group? Or do we like the little?
By the way, I think you skipped
dogs.
I think you skipped a question. I think that we got Joe Mixon versus Seattle and Myers versus.
Oh, I sure did.
Yeah,
buddy, I'm just punch drunk from starting the show all by myself here. So yes, I did. Daniel, apologies. I will take that demerit and wear it. So back to Daniel. Third question: full PPR, Joe Mixon versus Seattle, or Jacoby Myers versus New England in what some would call a revenge game. Derek, any thoughts on this? I know you do.
Yeah, well, I always have thoughts, whether they're good or not, I don't know. But so I really, if you've been watching me, I'm really a fan of Jacoby Myers, especially believe it or not, Garoppolo Myers, there's just a connection there that complements Anderson really well. But New England's, Myers is a slot receiver, and New England's actually been better than league average than as slot receivers. And, not to say that, that they're going to just bottle them up, but, I don't love that matchup as well as I've loved some others that, that he's had. But, that being said, with Mixon, we don't really know what we're going to get from him. We're not getting as many targets as we're accustomed to. Last week was the first game he's had more than 20 rushing attempts. So I don't know. Does that bode well for this week with Seattle? They do have a bye next week. So, they could certainly, use him a little stronger and with the understanding that they've got, 2 weeks before they face San Francisco. I just really don't know. So this is almost a coin flip for me. I'm going to go Mixon against the Seattle defense. That's going to be my choice, but it's pretty close. And again, I don't really I'm not as confident on either one of them, but I will leave Mixon.
Hey, Derek, remind me, when we dealt for Mixon last year, yeah. Was it about this time?
Yeah, probably so. Maybe a little earlier. I don't think it was quite week 6, but yeah, we made a deal and stashed him, and it paid off handsomely for us. So
so I wonder if maybe he and the Bengals are just going to turn into that slow starting offense, and it's going to take them a little bit to get out of the muck and mire, and to maybe after the bye week it kind of changes for them. Bob, I'll give you my quick thoughts and I'll turn it over to you. I like Myers the same way Derek does, especially with single coverage with Devontae getting more attention on the other side. I'm leaning Mixon here, and I'm going based on volume in that game, right? They're not going to give the ball to another running back. So I'm going to go Mixon as a volume play, and then we'll see what you say. Hopefully we can get something, a consensus for Daniel.
I'm going to go Myers. So the one thing it's PPR, which is nice. That makes it a little easier. The other thing is Seattle's run defense is so good. Like, they are in our matchup metric this week, Cincinnati's the second worst matchup for Seattle. So I think they're going to do it all through the air. And I think you're relying on a touchdown from Joe Mixon this week if you want him to be like an RB2. So I'm going to still go Myers here. I just think that, like you brought up, the other thing that was ridiculous was last week against the Packers. Like, everyone thought Davante Adams, they're going to give him the rock. And sure enough, it was the Jacoby Myers show. And I just think that teams are doing so much. And what does Bill Belichick always do? He wants to take away your best weapon, and that's going to be Davante Adams, and that's going to open up things for Jacoby Myers. And I'm just going to stick with that narrative and go Myers. What do you think, Sky? Welcome to the show.
Jacoby Myers. Good morning, gentlemen.
That's all you got?
Explain yourself.
Yep.
It must be.
You guys have covered it, but Jacoby Myers is Jacoby Myers is holding his own, and I agree. Seattle's defense is quality against the run, so I just think if I'm the last one in line here, there's not much more to say.
During the show, is there any? I'm just going to ask now, and then we'll get it out of the way. Is there going to be a time in this 2-hour window that you're going to be able to discuss the Ducks?
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
I don't. What I don't want to do is tread on anything. I just want to let you know that it may come up, it may slip. Right? I'm a Cougs fan. Cougs got absolutely boat raced, 44-6. But I want to give you time if you need time.
Ducks are still a top 10 team in the country, no question about it. USC lost. Bo Nix is a better quarterback than Caleb Williams. We still have 4 top 15 teams to play. We're going to beat at least 3 of them. Washington's going to lose at least 2 of those same matchups. Terrible coaching decisions twice. I agree with 1 of the 3. And missed a field goal. What are you going to say?
Ladies and gentlemen, he's back. That's why we let you come in late. We don't tax your game check. We let you miss last week, and Derek and I missed last week too. But welcome to the show. We love you. We missed you when we started. This show's a little bit off the rails already, but that is fully my responsibility to get it back on the rails. All right.
Honestly, I gotta cut you off there for a second. You didn't tell me you loved me, man. Like,
No.
What is going on here? I showed up a little late. You don't even say you love me or miss me. And then Sky comes in a little later. He gets all the love. You know what? It's fine. It's totally cool. I get it. You guys have your Tuesday show thing.
I'm going out on a limb, Bobby, but I think it's more the reason why you were late, not just the fact that you were late.
Had you told me you were making breakfast for the wife, or you had some homework to complete, that's fine. But when we hear you've had maybe a little bit too much coffee too early in the morning, it's just a little much for me.
Touche, everyone. All right, let's move on. Let's get to the questions.
All right. So before we get into Filcy's question, he's already answered us. It's not a dog, and it's not a teddy bear. What it is it's him in a dog mask on stage with his band. Sky, we'll let you get to that in a minute, right? We love the on stage music guys. So to the question, I believe what he means here is he's currently starting Josh Allen, Puka Nacua. Gotta love that. Bijan and Tony Pollard. So he's gonna need to flex Calvin Ridley, James Cook, or Zach Moss. So I guess the first question would be, do we trust Zach Moss to have one more week like he did last week, or at least majority of the carries? And then we have to decide him or Cook at running back, as a flex versus Calvin Ridley. Sky, if you want to go ahead and touch on music first, do that. We're open. It's free reign today. There are no rules today.
Good. Boss isn't paying attention. Love to hear that. Music first. I've been a nationally touring musician for 15 years myself. So Filcy, drop me a link or something. Slide into my DMs, if you will, with the tunes. I'd love to hear it. I am down with all genres. So I'd love to hear that. Also, I was going to make the correction, and he made. So Keenan Allen, Puka, Pollard. Oh, I'm cutting out. Sorry, guys. If something's funky, just let me know. For me, this is Calvin Ridley, easy. Wide receiver 6 against the Colts in week 1, 8 for 101 and a touchdown, 6th most wide receiver points allowed for the Colts. Calvin Ridley, big game today.
Eric, thoughts?
Well, it's easy for me as James Cook. Game script. I mean, everything lines up for him to have a big game against the Giants this week. I think he's got something to prove after essentially not showing up in London last week. So I really like James Cook this week. He's one of my top running back plays is James Cook. So to me, it's easily Cook. Second would be Ridley, and then Moss. I'm hoping for at least a 50-50 from Moss. I have him. I have to start him in one of my leagues. I was pleasantly surprised last week. I'm hoping for even an even split because I know the time is running out on that usage with Taylor. So I'm hoping for 50-50, but he's third amongst these three: Cook, Ridley, then Moss for me.
All right, Bob, Filthy has updated us. It's not Josh Allen, I assumed. So we're not talking his quarterbacks at all. So it's Keenan Allen, Puka, Bijan, and Pollard at running back, and then he's got to flex one of these guys.
I have a bad take here, but that's okay. Ridley for me is a must start. So I'm going to bench Keenan Allen, put in Calvin Ridley, and flex James Cook. Cook against the Giants, top 5 matchup in our metric. Calvin Ridley, top 5 matchup in our metric. The one thing that the Dallas Cowboys do really well is they slow down slot receivers. And Keenan Allen is kind of 50-50. I get that. But I just think that in this moment, I kind of want to start the guys. Ridley's a good player, and he had a great game against the Colts in week 1. So I'm just going to go with the analysis here. I'm going to sit Keenan Allen and start Ridley and then James Cook in this one. What do you think, Sky?
Trayvon Diggs is out, and they're coming off of a bye. Not a chance. I'm going to go with my standard 10 for at least 100 for Keenan Allen today. So I'll stick with Ridley.
All right, and Bob, I don't think your analytical nerd take is that bad. And you know what? Let's make 2 of us that are going to do what you just said. I'm going to sit Keenan Allen, and I'm going to go with Ridley at wide receiver, and I'm going to flex James Cook.
You love me. You love me, Matt. I feel it now.
If you could get your pen out and write down in your little notepad there that I did that today, because I know Christmas bonus discussions are coming up soon.
Doing it right now.
Yeah, actually, go ahead and put me.
You're back to neutral. This is good.
Yeah. And Sky was late, and I agree with you. So let's move that up. Look at this. We like this, right? We like people that have common courtesy. Daniel, thanks for the precise answers. Thumbs up since prescribed. He is now prescribed to this show, and we love it. So
makes sense to me.
From me to you, Daniel, thank you very much. I'm not sure if the other guys care. I do, Daniel, but I'm here for you. So, Filthy, it's me and the dog mask. So, Sky, hopefully you get some DMs with some info from him. And if you get some good music, let me know. And King Henry almost ran 400 yards, but got tackled at about the 7, in case you're not watching in the background, or if you're behind me. All right. First one to chime in wins $1. What does the F in Mike F stand for?
Football.
Derek, I owe you $1, but
football.
What's also an acceptable answer?
Fantasy.
Nope.
Florio.
Sky. Florio. There it is. All right, so he needs a defense. Do we have a defensive guru? I know Bob's our kicker guru here. I think normally Sky's the guy that's tracking defense. And I know Gladys is the big defensive tracker here. So need a defense. PPR, which doesn't matter, but thank you for sharing, Mike. I have the Cowboys available. I have the Cowboys, pause. Available defenses are Vikings, Texans, Colts, Bears, Chargers. Derek, I'm gonna go out on a limb that all 4 people are gonna say start the Cowboys. But Derek, I'll turn it over to you first.
Yeah, thanks for that. I would lean the Cowboys. I for the reason Sky just said, I don't like that matchup with the Chargers coming off a bye. They've got the weapons. The Niners just showed how you can humiliate the Cowboys. I'm sure the Chargers were there taking notes. So I don't love that matchup. I kind of like the Texans, actually. I like the Texans against the Saints. Low scoring predicted game. If if they can stop Kamara, then Carr and his receivers aren't necessarily scaring defenses. So if they can stop Kamara, then I think the Texans have a good chance of being the best defense in this list.
Guy, what do you think? Cowboys at your against your Chargers off the bye or no?
No. I have the Vikings one spot ahead of the Cowboys, and the rest of these defenses lower. My concern is that you would have to drop the Cowboys in order to play the Vikings. I don't want to do that. So if you're going to do that, just play the Cowboys.
Robert?
Yeah. Well, the Cowboys have a bye next week, right? So that's tough because, like, if you don't, unless you plan on holding them through 2 weeks, who do they have coming out of the bye? Do we know? Anybody got a schedule up in front of them?
Stand by. Yeah.
Because I'm just curious, because like not only you have to start them against a good Chargers offense, then you have a bye, then who do they have? And it's like 3 weeks of
Rams, Eagles, Giants,
Yep.
Panthers, next 4 after the bye.
How do we feel about the Cowboys versus the Rams and the Eagles? Are we starting those guys, the Cowboys, against them?
I think they're vulnerable. Yeah. I think the Rams and the Eagles could both take advantage of that defense.
So I guess I have to pivot. The 2 streamer defense like I have this week are the Raiders against the Patriots, and then I have the Texans against New Orleans, which I guess I would lean that direction. It's hard to figure out what's going on with the Texans, especially because now the New Orleans Saints are full strength. Now they got Kamara's back full running. Derek Carr is coming off that shoulder. He's got looking right. They have all their complementary receivers. I just don't feel great about that. Yeah, that's tough, man. I don't know if I would really go. I mean, we can't go Bears, right? That'd be insane. Bears-Vikings game without Justin Jefferson, I guess. But, man, I don't know. I guess Texans is fine. I'm just not really feeling any of these. But, yeah, I guess I would go Texans there.
Yeah, and I think I'm leaning Texans, but I'm with Sky as well. I don't feel great about dropping the Cowboys defense, but if maybe there's an IR spot where you can throw somebody to get the defense. So if you're going to hold Dallas for the whole year, then just hold them and deal with whatever you get this week.
I'm going to change my answer. I think Sky is right here. I think Sky, if it's that close, just play the better unit, and that's definitely the Cowboys. So I agree. Just if it's too close to call, then I would say stick with the Cowboys. It is what it is. Change it.
All right, here's a tough one. Morning, gents. I know I asked last week, but are the by the way, only Bob knows about this from last week because the other 3 of us were absent. So we can give fresh perspective here. Are the Tides turning for the Pats backfield for Zeke over Ramondre? That offense has just been so abysmal, but I have to start one of the 2. Now, interesting stat I will give you, Derek, before you give us your thoughts. And I think I told you this in a text last night. Ramondre Stevenson had 6 receptions in week 1. He now is tied with Zeke Elliott for 12 receptions on the year. So does that help or hinder your decision, or are you somewhat in on Zeke, or are you passing on the Zeke train?
I'm passing. Yeah, I mean, I realize I understand why this question is being asked, but no, there's the Patriots. I mean, if they're going to right this ship, and certainly within the backfield, it starts today, and I see that there's an opportunity there against the Raiders, and Stevenson's the play. I mean, at this point in his career, okay, yeah, he may fall into the end zone for a touchdown, but I'm not putting my team's faith in Zeke. I'm going with Ramondre. He's the better player. Yes, certainly he hasn't had more than 19 rushing attempts in any game, and that was only 1 against the Jets. His targets have been going down, but I don't see that as being a prescriptive thing. I think it's just a matter of game script and just this offense trying to figure it out. And at some point, they just need to realize that we need to get the ball into our best players' hands, and in this case, it's Stevenson, not Zeke. So no, I'm sticking with Ramondre.
Yeah, let me just look something up real quick. I'm curious about this because he is dealing with a thigh injury, and so that came up like 2 weeks ago coming out of the game. And I think that kind of led to some of his usage last week against New Orleans, plus game flow. They were down 34-0. They have back-to-back games where they lost by 30-plus points. So the Raiders, I don't know. It just seems like to me Bill Belichick and company against Josh McDaniels cannot get blown out this week. They are not going to go let Josh McDaniels blow them out on the road. So I think they're going to play better. The way you beat the Raiders has been more on the ground. So I'm going to say that I'm going to just give it a shot. And look at the schedule too. Saints, Dallas, Jets, Dolphins, Eagles. Like, I think the Miami Dolphins are the only one that the Miami and the Jets run defenses are not good, but I think for the most part, if you look at the games where they were competitive, which is those Miami and Jets games, those were his two best games. So I'm going to go stick with Stevenson one more week if these are your two options. So I'm okay with Stevenson.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion. I think like Derek said, the better player is clearly Ramondre Stevenson. He's got a little bit of a ding. I think this week that your guy Josh McDaniels is going to try to score 100 points. He wants to separate himself as far as he can from Belichick. They are going to do everything they can to keep that streak of 30-point defeats alive. And I really do think that there's some animosity there, and McDaniel's going to want to really get after it and score as many points. And I think that means Ramondre's got to be on the field, and he's got to be touching the ball as much as possible. Zeke Elliott is, like Derek said, if he falls in the end zone, great. If you lose to him, there's nothing you could have done. The fantasy gods were not in your favor. So Ramondre is the better of the two players, and I say you got to stick with him. So Sky, welcome back. I know you had some technical issues there real quick. Basically, we're trying to decide if we have to start one of Ramondre or Zeke, where are we going to lean?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Sorry about that, everybody. Ramondre Stevenson, easy for me. I'm going to just, I got excited about the bench Keenan Allen take, so I feel like I have to, jump on my own propaganda machine here. So I'm going to go with Ramondre Stevenson as my running back start of the week outside of the top automatic guys.
Nice.
Yeah. So Ramondre Stevenson, it has been playing horribly. The good news is, though, Zeke has been horrible-er. So I'm not worried about Zeke at all. The Raiders have been annually terrible against receiving running backs. And if they can get back to week 1 where we had 6 targets, 6 receptions, I think he's going to be fine. I think he scores at least twice today. So I'm going to go with Ramondre Stevenson has a better fantasy point game than Josh Jacobs on probably half the amount of touches. So might look silly next week, but I'm going all in on it. So Ramondre Stevenson, I'm comfortable playing today.
Bob, I've got my pen out. I'm going to write down horribler so you can put that on his annual feedback.
So I got a question for you because I have Stevenson in a league. I have guys like Swift, James Cook. I'm assuming you're starting those guys over Stevenson, correct?
I am.
James Cook, I know this isn't popular and I'm worried about it. James Cook specifically, I think I would play Ramondre over. You can't get away from Swift and you can't get away from the Philly offense. I had James Cook this week in my trade article, which I know everybody's already read for free on football.razzball.com with all of the rest of our amazing writers and articles this week. But he's actually a sell for me. A dismal game last week, obviously. -4 total rushing yards, -0.8 PPR fantasy points. Obviously, it's not going to get it done. I know the Giants are going to get boat raced today, but I'm just not feeling James Cook and his workload. and I think they can throw all over the yard. So for some reason, I have a gut feeling that James Cook is not going to be it. So I would rank them Swift, Ramondre, Cook in that particular situation. I hope I'm wrong on James Cook. I love the guy. I've got him in like 5 of my 7 leagues, but I'm not feeling good about it right now.
This is the
Derek,
worst.
you want to take a stab at countering that?
No, I think I was going to take a pause from the show for a minute hearing that. No, I like all 3 of them. Don't get me wrong, but no, I just can't get behind this. With Cook and who are you trading them for right now? Especially most people have a short memory, and after last week, I mean, what are you getting for him? So yeah, I don't. I would trade for him. I would certainly be looking to trade for him, not trading him off. But
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah, but no, I don't. I'm high on Cook, so one of us is going to be right today. One of us is going to be wrong. We'll have to keep track of that in the chats afterwards. But I do like Ramondre, but not as much as Cook.
All right, so I have a personal interest in this, so this is good. So Matt, you were the only one that agreed with me on the Keenan Allen take, right? Would you start James Cook and Ramondre over Keenan Allen in the flex?
James Cook, yes. Ramondre, no.
Oh man, this is gonna get really ugly.
I don't even know what to do with all this information now. I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to do with any of this.
Well, and you know what? I'm going to tell you right now. Derek and I split a team. I will tell you who we started over Ramondre. We started Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers, and Alvin Kamara over Ramondre Stevenson. And there was discussion at one point if maybe Dante Foreman would be started over Ramondre. Ramondre is locked onto our bench with Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers, and Alvin Kamara playing over him.
Yeah, in a PPR. Yeah,
in a full PPR.
Yeah,
in a team that's 1-4. Insert joke here, but we have to win, right? So we're going with folks that we trusted better. Now Rashee Rice, we can talk about him later if we slow down. Rashee Rice needs to get more playing time, more targets. He's electric, but it's not happened yet. But I like the 11 points I have on the books from him. I like the 11 points I already have from Zay Flowers, and I don't know that I'm going to get 11 points from Ramondre Stevenson. He should have very close to PPR points like Kamara does. He's almost a carbon copy of Kamara. I just don't know what Belichick's doing. All right, they're not a great team, but he's by far the best player. Now Juju is out. They no longer have Jonnu Smith, who appears to be the best tight end in the history of the NFL for the last 2 weeks. I don't know what Belichick's doing. You got boat race 2 weeks in a row by 30 plus, and you're not giving your best player the football. That's pretty simple fix there. So, but I don't trust Belichick to do the right thing. I trust Belichick to do whatever the hell Belichick wants to do. And right now it's not working.
So I guess the question is, I think the funny thing about the Foreman comment, like Chuba Hubbard, those guys actually have really good, decent matchups this week. So I guess the question, I think Sky made a good point of Josh Jacobs. Like Josh Jacobs has a really tough matchup. Joe Mixon has a really tough matchup. And like the Cardinals running back situation has a tough matchup this week. You also have like the Colts running back situation. I guess, Sky, I'm assuming you're starting Stevenson. Would you start Stevenson over Joe Mixon this week?
Joey Mix, give me a second to double check.
Seattle.
Yeah,
I'm just curious because
I was just trying to figure out where they're at. I have Joe Mixon 2 spots higher right now.
So, because my thought process here is like Stevenson, in my opinion, I'm not going to start him over a better player this season who's got a good matchup because he hasn't proven it yet. But if you have a better player who has a really bad matchup, that's where it gets interesting for me because I think Stevenson, I was super high on him preseason. So I guess for the panel, before we move on to the questions again, I just quickly, because I think Stevenson is an important name because the matchup is good against the Raiders, but he's been struggling. So my question is, from that group of lists I gave out, Joe Mixon for you guys against Seattle's tough run defense, Josh Jacobs against New England. You have, the Cardinals running back situation, the Jonathan Taylor, Zach Moss situation. Are you guys all comfortable starting Stevenson over that group? Matt, for you, what's your thoughts there?
Yeah, I am. That group, yes.
Okay. Derek?
Yes, I am as well. I mean, he would be my choice. I'm not overly confident, but he is my choice of that group. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I have. So just to be clear, because I don't want this. I mean, I'm down to like have ranking disputes. That's why we have this show, and I'm confident in my decision here. But I want to be just kind of like transparent. Me getting hyped up about like Ramondre Stevenson doesn't mean I have him in like my top 3 or something like that. Like, let's slow down a little bit. I have him at number 15. He's my start of the week because I eliminate like the top 10 guys when I do that kind of stuff because you're playing them automatically. That's not analysis. Right. If you're going to go the opposite way, like Matt did, and you're going to take a top option usually and go the other direction and bench them or not play them, that is something to discuss. But I have the normal guys up there, but like, for example, basically Kenneth Walker, Isaiah Pacheco, I already played in front of him, DeAndre Swift, Alvin Kamara, Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, and then the rest of the guys I'm playing in front of Ramondre. Rashad White, Derrick Henry, even I had lower. Alexander Madison, Breece Hall, Saquon if he plays, Brian Robinson, all those guys are below.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Stevenson take for us is that if you have the opportunity to play him over another player in a tough matchup, we recommend that. Stevenson has a good matchup, but he's not a must start in the sense of you're not going to start him over guys. Well, you're saying James Cook. That's where we disagree. I can think that's a good line where we're going to kind of get blurry there.
But I've got him.
But I was just curious.
Apart. I've got him 2 spots apart too. Like that's the thing is, on certain rosters you make those decisions.
No, but the question though is like a lot of these guys were talking like Cook wasn't a top 3-4 round pick, so he's probably on a roster with a team that has Stevenson and Cook. So it's not like you might have to make that decision. So that's it's not as simple as like having like your top 3 picks from the draft. It's like these guys who emerge like Raheem Mostert and James Cook who are later round picks. It's like start them, those guys you draft. I mean, Mostert's a bad example because he's absolutely out of his mind right now and there's no definite chain. But like James Cook was someone we drafted later in drafts that you're now going to start over a guy who you probably drafted in the 2-3 turns. So it's just, but now Stevenson finally has that really good matchup. So I just wanted to clarify. It's fine. It was a good dialogue there. Let's get back to the questions. I don't even know who's hosting at this point. Matt, you got it. Go ahead.
All right. Daniel comes in with one more. Stafford versus Arizona or Dak versus the Chargers. I'm going to give you my one-word answer, and then we can move on. Stafford. Derek.
Yeah, Stafford for me, for sure.
Sky.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 words. Not Dak.
Ooh, 2. I'll give you 3. Start Matthew Stafford.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, right? None of us are fans of Dak. I will go one step further and to say that right now Dak Prescott is at best a streaming option. At best.
Geno Smith at the Bengals or Dak Prescott versus Chargers?
Geno Smith.
CJ Stroud at the Saints?
Sure.
Was the question over Dak? Sorry, I was reading all the injury stuff. Okay.
I'm just looking at rankings and throwing some names to see if, how about Brock Purdy versus the Browns?
Always Brock Purdy.
I might be in the minority. I like Dak Prescott this week. I think the Chargers game is going to be a fun one. Like,
it is for Herbert.
I don't think Dak is going to be terrible. The Chargers haven't been good on defense. So, yeah, I would say Purdy is like the high. Like Purdy, the question is like, can he get his 2 touchdowns in before the 30-0 blowout? Like, or is it going to be CMC rushing for 3 touchdowns and then he gets 0? He throws 200 passing yards, no touchdown. I think Purdy's the safest bet though. Like he's like.
Okay. Let me throw this out. We can move on here. So I've had a lot of trouble with Dak Prescott because I was actually really high on him coming into the season, new weapons, blah, blah, blah. But I knew that losing Kellen Moore is massive. And nobody in the mainstream media, that's why we're here for you folks, nobody in those platforms are talking about the fact that Kellen Moore left and how much of a dent this has been in this offense. It's all about Dak and how he's not talented and CeeDee not working out and Zeke's gone and all this stuff. That's all true. But Bob and I talk about it religiously in the off seasons every year. And it's continuity. It's massive. It goes both ways. And losing that mind mold of that offense has been dramatic for the Cowboys. But Dak Prescott this year, just QB finishes on the week, 29, 17, 18, 19, and 25. The Niners are great defense. The Jets are pretty good, but the rest of them have been plus matchups, and he has not been top 15. So if you're going to rank him, like, I'm just curious where people are ranking him then, because I think every week he gets ranked in the top 12 because he's supposed to be, but he's not finishing within 7, 8 parts of that, meaning that other guys are trickling in. That's my only concern, and that's why I'm trying to be just realistic. Yes, it should be a shootout. They should score a bunch of points, but it just hasn't been working out.
Can I give you 3 words?
Yes.
Mike McCarthy offense.
Yeah, exactly.
Kellen Moore was the offensive mastermind in the Dallas offense. Why is CeeDee Lamb not just collecting targets? Because Mike McCarthy's not a good play caller. Trust the Packers fan. It's frustrating, right? Okay, we're good for field goals. Well, no, you're not. You're not going to win in the NFL with field goals. So figure it out. And right now, Dak's not the answer.
And Dak loves throwing to his tight end so much. At this point, trade CeeDee Lamb and go get a stud tight end. Like, because if you had a stud like Kittle, for example, as your tight end, and he could be like a Mark Andrews Kittle type tight end, this offense would be completely different because that's where Dak likes to throw. Stop with the BS. Don't sign Brandon Cooks this offseason. Go out and get yourself the number 1 tight end you can get, whether it's via the draft, I know they drafted a guy, Lou Schippenmaker or whatever his name is, in the 2nd round, but like they should have just said, you know what? We're gonna go make a huge trade and go get somebody that is like a number 1 tight end. So because it's obnoxious. Like Jake Ferguson, doesn't even matter. Peyton Hendershot, whoever's out there, he's throwing it to him. So, and clearly the wide receivers are better, but Dak likes to throw to that position. So I don't know.
Well, he's scared, and it helps. I would do it too.
Have we beat the Dak horse enough?
Yeah, we beat it. We're good. Let's move on.
All right. So now that we've done that, we're now going to beat the Ramondre horse again. So AJ followed up. It's a tough 14-teamer. He has Ramondre and has Connor. Obviously, that's turned to trash really quick. He snagged Foreman. So I guess the question is, he's now starting Foreman and Ramondre. So let's go back to what his question was. For him, it's Zeke or Ramondre paired with Foreman.
That doesn't PPR. Do we know? Oh yeah, PPR. Okay.
Yep.
I think he's
in a good spot. Yeah, I like this week. That's a good play this week.
Yeah, I think Foreman and Stevenson is okay for him, but I think we also got off on a significant tangent about let's write a term paper on Ramondre Stevenson, and that's okay. It's out for grade, and I think we have Ramondre versus Jacobs was one bet, right? Sky's leaning Ramondre. And Derek, did you have another line on that? Or did somebody say Ramondre over Mixon?
No,
I'm not writing all this stuff down. I'm very busy hosting, guys.
Mixon's good. Mixon's good.
Yeah, I think there's a bet in there, but I don't think it was that one. So we'll
legally, I live in the state of Texas. I cannot make bets in Texas. I apologize. So if you guys are going to go down that road, I simply can't be a part of it. I'm just here to host. I'm very busy. As you can tell, this is a very stressful gig. It's why Bob has all that gray hair.
That's why I gave you guys weeks off, like last week. It was a
we took the week off.
That was the company retreat week. It was great.
Yeah. In fact, nice. Where were you?
That's true. I was too busy hosting the show.
We had golfing and strip clubs and steak dinners.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
I had the putt tournament was my favorite. That's all.
Yeah.
It was just
live music with Sky's band was great.
Yeah, it was really good time.
And Gray footed the whole bill. It was incredible.
All right, let's get moving. Here.
All right, Mike Murphy, welcome back, Mr. Murphy. Always good to have you check in. Good morning to you. Huge shout out and thanks to Matt for his help this week. I was able to get Fields in a. I'm gonna have to have somebody else read this.
Let's go. Can we screenshot that real quick? I don't have the ability on my phone. Can we just make sure that Matt not only requested Fields, but then made it happen? That's man.
Let me get the camera out. Let's go ahead and bookmark this.
Nice job. I love that.
All right. So I was able to get Fields in a trade. Looking good. Much appreciated. Couple lineup questions. All right. So I haven't seen stuff from Mike Murphy. It's down here. So we'll get to Mike Murphy in a second, but we're going to hit Kiefer real quick. And Mike, stay tuned. We'll get to your stuff. Morning, Kiefer Cole. Who do I sit? Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, Joe Mixon, or David Montgomery? I already know my answer. Derek, we'll turn this over to you and see if you agree.
My sit is going to be, again, we're assuming half PPR. My sit is going to be Joe Mixon. Just leave it at that. Joe Mixon. We talked about him before. Montgomery is going to be stout today. He should be. Evans is back. His injury designation is off. He should be good to go. And I like Kerr over Mixon. That's just what it comes down to for me.
Bob, what do we think?
Numbers say sit Mixon. So I'm going to go with Mixon here. If it's full PPR, it's clearly Mixon. If you get closer to, if it's standard for whatever reason, then I would sit Mike Evans. But I'm going to go probably Joe Mixon.
Guy, are we going to go 3 for 3?
No. David Montgomery is automatic. Mike Evans, I like, coming off of a bye and his injury, but he had more time to rest himself. Should be a shootout in whatever Baker can do there against the Lions. I don't love Joe Mixon, but I really don't like Christian Kirk. This match, I like him a lot individually and in general, but not this matchup. The Colts have been dreadful on the outside, solid against the slot. They've given up the 8th fewest PPR points against the slot. I'm worried about that. I think it's a massive game for Calvin Ridley, actually. So he's only seen one red zone target as well. I don't love that. When they get down there, it's Evan Ingram, Calvin Ridley, who's missed 4 touchdowns this year, gentlemen, just overthrows or whatnot, and then the run game with ETN. So I'm actually going to audible a little bit, and I will sit Christian Kirk.
All right, we'll go 3 or 4. I'm going to sit Joe Mixon. I see Christian Kirk to have a blow-up game. I'm going 102 today for Christian Kirk, mainly because Derek and I are starting him, and I don't like what Sky had to say about him.
Mixon has 7 total targets in the last 3 games combined.
Horrendous.
Yes, that's cause for concern.
T. Higgie's back though.
Is he?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
No, I mean, if you have him, do you have the guts to start?
No.
That
No,
hasn't played a snap before after being back. Scary.
Nope. No, but that's not the question. The my angle there was if he can be, what did they say the other day? Decoy Debo or whatever, decoy Samuel or whatever the hell they call him when he doesn't do anything. If he could be decoy Higgy, then he's out there. They have to account for him. Tyler Boyd's been playing well enough, and then of course Chase. But now all of a sudden you have Burrow back, Chase regular, and they're not stacking the box in Seattle. And I think Geno will probably be able to put up enough points with Ken Walker. So I don't know. We'll see about. I think that's a good one to monitor today, though. Mixon versus Kirk.
Bob, I'm gonna get a little bit personal with you right now. I love you, Bob, and I will tell you that now I see some of the things you have to deal with. Right, I was trying to host the show. I think I was doing okay. I made a comment, and Sky said, "Hey, that's not the question." Well, here's the deal. When I'm running the show, I'll tell you what the questions are. Buddy.
That's true. That's true.
I don't have to put up with this.
No, that was good.
Cow.
That was
Bob,
good.
after we sign off, I'd like to just have a one-on-one discussion with you real quick about how I think I got treated this morning. This is ridiculous.
You guys take 1 week off and the chemistry just gone. This is wild.
Honestly, we're basically AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
We'll come back together, but it's obviously not meshed. You know what I mean?
This is all for clicks and views. We don't hate each other, right?
Dude, I should say that on a tweet.
It's the Real Housewives of fantasy football.
This is
Real Housewives of fantasy football is what we are. We're drinking too much tequila and we're yelling about things that don't matter to anybody in the world.
We're basically Kobe and Shaq. It's the same thing.
Which one are you?
I'll be Shaq.
Oh, okay. Or Shaq
fine.
and Shaq. All right, guess who's signing in to see us? Beach is here.
What's up,
Hello,
Beach?
good morning to you, Beach. Start 1, PPR, Jamison Williams, Quentin Johnston, JSN, Josh Downs. I've already got my name. Derek, over to you really quick.
Wow, this is a tough one. Probably the toughest one we've had so far. I mean, generally, I'm gonna lock right in on Josh Downs here. But the Jaguars are only giving up 18% of their wide receiver points to the slot, and so that really makes it challenging to pick him. But the other three are just not doing anything. None of them. Not a single one of them. You can even trust to have a decent floor, in my opinion. So, in this case, even though the matchup says otherwise, I'm going to go Josh Downs. He's the position. He's the player in the position, despite the matchup, who has the most opportunity to catch a floor. So I don't like any of these, and it's unfortunate that these are the four names that you're going to have to consider, I assume, for a flex position. But go with Josh Downs and cross your fingers.
Yeah, I'll double up on that. Josh Downs is my pick as well. If you asked me 2 days ago, I might go Jamison Williams if Amon-Ra St. Brown missed another game, but he looks to be healthy enough to play. So I'm going to go with Josh Downs as well. 6 targets, 6 receptions, 97 yards last week. In week 1, 7 targets. Just 3 catches and 30 yards, but nonetheless still getting the look. So I really do think that Josh Downs is blossoming there. So I like the slot analysis there, Derek. I think that's something to take into consideration. But up against these other players, I'm going to go Josh Downs.
I'm going to go JSN. Cincinnati is a complete slot funnel defense. I do think that game is probably one of the sneaky shootouts. Like, that game could be a lot offensively. If Joe Burrow's back to being Joe Burrow, he's going to light up that Seattle secondary. So that could be a fun game. So I'm going to buy into that a little bit and go JSN here.
So for me, it's Downs. Very easy pick for me. Even with Derek's analytics, I'm going to go down. So, and I will mention we still haven't hit a quadfecta yet for this morning on any question.
No,
we
got
did.
one.
Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford. Yep, we did get one.
We did do that. See,
Yeah.
Folks, I'm running stuff here. If I don't get statistics thrown my way, I don't know. So I love that. I will tell you that I might have a DFS lineup in with a buddy that lives in a state that allows that type of entertainment. So that may be my quarterback. So we'll check in later and let you know how that turned out. We're going to do injuries here at the top of the hour. We will start off, or before we get there, we're going to get into Mike Murphy, a couple of his questions. Team 1 need 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex. So with the 2 wide receivers, Chase, Olave, Higgins, Cooper, and his running backs are Pollard, Bijan, Breece Hall, Donta Foreman, and then 1 flex off of that list as well. Derek would do this relatively quick so we can turn the over to Bob for the injury report.
Yeah, so Chase and Olave for me. I'm not playing Higgins yet, and I need to see what he's coming back. If what he's got. We did talk about Cooper. We don't necessarily hate him this week, but my wide receivers are going to be Chase and Olave, running back Pollard and Bijan for sure. So the flex comes down to me is either Cooper or Foreman. I just don't like the Hall matchup with the Eagles. So I'm going to go strictly, assuming it's half PPR, I'm still going to go with Foreman over Cooper in the flex.
So that was Chase, Olave, Pollard, Bijan,
and Foreman. Yes.
Okay.
Did I miss why you're not going with Breece Hall?
Yeah, I don't like him running into that Eagles front 4.
Yeah, I mean neither.
Now Jalen Carter is out this week. The rookie
is.
phenom is out,
and they have
and I believe
their top 2 cornerbacks are out too. Like,
correct.
The Jets might accidentally move the ball a little bit today.
Yeah,
They
might.
Brees is going to get his work.
They might.
I just had this image of like Zach Wilson completing a pass and going, God damn it. Like, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Accidentally moving the football here.
But again, to counter that, I know we haven't seen Foreman do anything, but it's against the Vikings, who are very, very soft against the run. So, and Jalen and with Fields, we expect him to run a little bit too, open it up. I think the floor and the ceiling, for that matter, is better with Foreman than it is with Hall.
Quick quiz: 2022 Dante Foreman, over under. He had 895 yards.
Over. He had like 900.
Over.
Bob?
Over.
He did. He had 994 yards last year. So,
Yeah.
All right. So, Sky, who are your five players here?
God, that dude was so sick coming out of Texas. Two really terrible injuries. I'm going to go with Olave and Chase are automatic. Bijan is automatic. Pollard's automatic for me. And then I'm going to go with Breece Hall. I just think I agree with you that the volume will probably be there. The plotting, bunch of whatever, maybe a score. But Breece is really catching his stride. Dalvin Cook is now on the trade block all of a sudden. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of work here for Breece Hall to try to keep the Philly off the field there. So I'll go with Breece, Bijan, Pollard, Olave, and Chase.
I think the Olave Chase is easy. Pollard, Bijan, easy. It really comes down to Hall versus Foreman, and everything in my body wants to say Foreman, but like Breece Hall is just they're leaning into the kid, and man, yeah, I go Hall. I'm not gonna fade him here. Just go Hall.
Yep. I'm the same way, and I will tell you that if Roschon Johnson had cleared concussion protocol and was healthy, he would be starting. And for that reason, I'm going to lean Hall. That with the Dalvin Cook on the trade block, right? Some dysfunction there in the backfield, and a couple of the starters down for Philly. I think you can run on them. And one guy on this list that can go 75 is Breece Hall. So I'm going to go the same as as Sky. I'm going to go Chase, Olave, Pollard, Bijan, and Breece Hall. And Bob, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a water break, and we're going to turn the show over to you for the injury report.
All right, that sounds good. We'll get back to everyone's questions in just a minute. We want to provide you just really quickly the updates for reason. And I took myself off. There we go. All right. So we'll get to injuries in just a check at the top of the hour. We want to make sure we break down all the key injuries that are going to help you impact your DFS lineups. This is a really fun segment we do every single week. And we do also like to promote SixScore.com. It's one of our partners. They Sports Injury Central. They help us come up with a lot of these injury scores, meaning like injured defenses that you could attack for DFS in your redraft lineups. Obviously, in the earlier window, the Ravens' pass D is starting to get healthier. We're seeing that against DeAndre Hopkins and company there, of course. But that's essentially what the Six Score means. I'm showing you what the improvements are. They have gone up nearly 20 points, and we're seeing that today as they have done a pretty good job against DeAndre Hopkins. Panthers' pass D is going down. They're going the wrong direction, folks. And so Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, not only get them in your DFS lineups, get them in your regular lines, but get them in DFS as well. Miles Sanders is out today. That means Chuba Hubbard does have a top 10 matchup against the Dolphins. Now, we're not expecting much on the ground because of game flow, but he could catch a lot of passes today. So Chuba Hubbard's a very nice RB2. Devin Achane is on IR officially. Jeff Wilson is also out today. Expect a lot of Raheem Mostert, but Solomon Ahmed is someone to keep your eye on this week. If you're looking for kind of a dart throw RB2 this week, if you're really hurting at the position, Solomon Ahmed is expected to get a lot of work. Juwan Johnson is out this week against the Houston Texans. Should help the receiving core as a whole, throw a couple different passes that way. If you're looking for a crazy dart throw, you can look at Taysom Hill this week, as he did run the most routes amongst tight ends last week with Juwan Johnson out. Tank Dell is out today, folks. And the good news is, if you are a Nico Collins owner, that should funnel more targets his way. They do get back Noah Brown, who should play the slot, meaning Robert Woods will be out wide. Now, I do expect Nico to benefit from this the most. Marshawn Moore has played over 90% of his snaps on one side of the field, folks. So I do think Nico will be away from him enough. Is a solid wide receiver too. Washington safety DeForest is out. The reason why I bring this up, though, is the Washington Commanders secondary is extremely banged up. And one of the favorite matchups this week is Jonnu Smith if you're looking for a tight end dart throw. I like Jonnu a lot this week as that option. Drake London also has a very strong matchup. Kyle Pitts, really showed last week. This is another good matchup for him as well. Anthony Richardson, of course, now on IR. You have Garner Minshew revenge game this week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are a pass funnel defense, so if you need a streamer, also I like him in DFS this week. Garner Minshew is only $5,000 on DK. If you need an option there as well, they will be down their right tackle Braden Smith, which could be a problem against a Jacksonville front that's been pretty good this season. Zay Jones is out. Notable nugget about that. We're expecting a big game from Calvin Ridley. Got him in my DFS lineup myself. You should get him in there as well. Christian Kirk plays a little more outside. 77% of his snaps were in the slot with Zay Jones. Drops all the way down to 62% without Zay Jones. So he'll have more time on the outside away from that tough slot matchup this week. So if you do need a wide receiver 3, it's Christian Kirk should be okay. The Bears backfield is extremely banged up. That's Devonta Foreman's show this week. The Bears do have a very, very good matchup against the Minnesota Vikings. So Foreman is not a bad RB2 if needed, but he's a great DFS play, probably a popular DFS play at $4,400. We also have Justin Jefferson officially on IR. That should be Addison, and KJ Osborne should move to the outside now with a Brandon Pattle play in the slot. They are playing the Bears, which is a great matchup for both Addison and KJ Osborne. Both could be on the wide receiver 3 radar this week. Deshaun Watson officially out this week. They are going with Philip Walker against the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers are probably a layup DFS defense this week. Must start as well in redraft. Douglas and Juju Smith-Schuster are out today. For the New England Patriots, look for more targets to get flown out wide to Kendrick Bourne and Parker as well. Patriots pass the 6 score is 54.4. The average 6 score for most defenses, high 80s, low 90s. This is a very banged up pass D this week. So if you're looking for any excuse to start the Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, this should only be a feather in the cap in those situations, and those are good DFS options as well. Nate Hobbs, slot cornerback and best cornerback for the Raiders, is out today against the New England Patriots. The question is, who's really going to be the slot man? Your guess is good as ours, obviously with all the injuries to the slot men there, but that is notable for the Patriots passing offense. Jahmyr Gibbs on a midnight out today for the Detroit Lions. Look for a heavy workload from David Montgomery. Craig Reynolds is his direct backup if you're looking for someone deeper to talk about there. Brian Branch, slot cornerback for the Detroit Lions, is out today. We did find out through our scavenger hunt that Chris Godwin is now playing more on the outside. The 2 rookies, Tompkins, and also are playing the slot a little bit more this week. So if you're looking for like a DFS dart throw, look at the Bucs wide receivers 3, Palmer and Tompkins as well. That could be very interesting DFS dart throws. Lions past the 6 score is dropping again. A little bit vulnerable. That should be good news like we just discussed with Brian Branch being out. Look for Mike Evans to be okay this week, as well as they have been dealing with more injuries on the outside cornerbacks overall. All right, Jalen Thompson out, safety for the Cardinals pass day. As you can see, their 6 score is 77.7. Little banged up going into this week. So if you're looking at potentially a reason to not start Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, don't, because they should be awesome. Get those guys into your DFS lineups as well. James Conner is officially on IR. We'll see what the Ingram backfield split looks like in the Arizona Cardinals today. We are not excited for them as they play the Rams, probably trying to fade those running backs if you can. We have Darius Slay out, Justin Evans out today for the Philadelphia Eagles. That should be good news for Garrett Wilson, who could probably finally get the ball a little bit more this week against that Eagles secondary. Look for Garrett Wilson to finally kind of put up the points that we would like to see. Wide receiver 2 in fantasy with those injuries to the secondary. Jalen Carter also out today. It's good news for Breece Hall. Quez Watkins, slot wide receiver. That should only open up things for, of course, Dallas Goedert, who should see another big day against that Jets secondary. Elijah Vera Tucker, top offensive guard for the Jets, is out. Slight thing for maybe it cancels out the Jalen Carter injury as well. So Breece Hall, definitely someone we'll talk about later today. DJ Reed and also Sauce Gardner are out today for the Jets. We talked a little bit earlier. This should definitely put Devonta Smith on the wide receiver 3 map. Personally, I'm all in on AJ Brown this week. AJ Brown should have a monster day, and actually I think he's at DFS lineups because of these injuries. Of course, the Jets pass D's now down to 77. Daniel Jones is out today. Giants will be down 2 starting offensive linemen. Saquon Barkley and Darren Waller are in, though. So Tyrod Taylor should be good enough in a revenge game against the Buffalo Bills. So honestly, I think that if you're probably not starting anybody, but I think Waller is probably still fine if you need to start him as a tight end. Tyrod Taylor is a serviceable backup. Saquon Barkley should be in your lineups, but he's probably viewed as a RB2 instead of the RB1 because the Bills' pass D is very banged up with a 61.76 score. So that might give some help to Tyrod Taylor, who also will be out without Matt Milano and Daquan Jones up front. So the Bills are very banged up right now on defense. So Tyrod Taylor should be able to move the ball just enough to get his two best players the ball. Van Der Esch, the linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, is out today. That's good news for Austin Eckler, who's back this week, folks. Officially back, Austin Eckler. Get him in your lineups. He could be an underrated DFS play this week as well against the Cowboys. The safety for the Chargers is out today. If you're looking for a reason to, get Michael Gallup into your lineups this week, I do like Michael Gallup as a wide receiver 3. If you need him, of course, you're starting CeeDee Lamb in this matchup, but that is another injury as well. A couple players that are in our game time decisions. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown in, Shaq Leonard and Cutie Pay in for the Colts. That's good for their front. T. Higgins in, Marquise Brown is in, David Njoku is in, Echo we just brought up. Charles Leno, left tackle for the here's some last-minute questionables that are now out. Charles Leno, left tackle for the Washington Commanders, is out today. This is an offense that really struggles to protect the quarterback. Atlanta Falcons could be a really good streamer this week in a DFS play because of that injury. Drake Greenlaw, linebacker for the 49ers. I doubt they're going to need him, but he's a stud middle linebacker for the 49ers. He's out today. And Denzel Perriman for the Houston Texans, stud middle linebacker, is out. Those are all the injury updates we got for today. Let's bring the team back in just a second. But basically, everyone, folks, hopefully that is helpful. We got you some injury updates. Going to kick it back over to Matt in just a second. Matt, take it back over, my friend.
Well, I'll tell you what. Dion checked into Saturday Night Live last night. If you haven't seen the skit, it's good stuff. Bob, that was about 1,000 players you just went through. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. You got your water break. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
All right. So we hit some Mike Murphy. Now I'm trying to find out where were we. We finished the Breece Hall. So we are on to Zion. Sky, you all right with that pronunciation? Zion.
That's going to be
Zion.
Yeah.
Zion.
I know a Zion, and it's like traditional spelling, so that one's tricky.
Yeah, that's not it. And I do not believe this is Zion Williamson from the Pelicans.
No, but hey, my man's been in the lab. Looks good.
Yeah, he's a big kid. All right, Derek, you ready?
Ready.
Off the break and all the injuries. Start 2.
Let's do it.
Debo, Olave, Slim Reaper, Michael Pittman Jr., Jacoby Myers. Start 2. We're going to assume half PPR.
Yes, start 2. I like 4 of these names very well. Starting 2, so I'm going to go Pittman and Olave are my 2. I really like Pittman this week. In fact, I like him most out of all of these, and then Olave is pretty close behind. I do like Myers as well, but if it's only 2, it's Pittman and Olave for me.
I'm struggling with the 49ers here. They definitely, they should get the win. I think they're going to be fine, but I've got Brandon Ayuk all over the place, and I'm actually nervous about starting him if I have better options, just because the Browns secondary is elite. They've given up the fewest fantasy points to wide receivers, and I just have a tough time starting the second wide receiver for the 49ers. So I'm going to sit Debo, but I will go with Slim Reaper. Massive day for the Eagles today, and Olave as well.
Man, I'm actually going to go Pittman and Myers this week.
Well, then we are going to have an 0 for 4 because I'm going to go Pittman and Slim Reaper. So, Zion, my apologies to you, but it appears as if you have a decision to make on your own. Now, it sounds like we have Pittman pretty standard, right? I said Pittman. Bob said Pittman. Derek, you said Pittman. Sky, did you go with a Pittman as well?
No, but
You did
go
not.
for it.
So 3 of 4 say Pittman. So I would say Zion, not because I said it, but because 3 of us did. Pittman, and then you'll have to go with the guy that you like best as your 4. I'm with Sky, and we talked about it earlier. I don't think that the Niners wide receivers are the guys this week, based on the fact that Cleveland is elite against the pass. So really, it would go down to Olave, Devonta Smith, and Jacoby Myers, the guy that you like best. The analytics is going to help a little bit, but for the most part, this is probably going to be a gut call for you.
So would you say that you would start Christian McCaffrey over Deonta Foreman then today?
No.
I would. Well, you know what? I'd have to get on some of these spreadsheets that Derek has. Right, he's got some algorithms and some spreadsheets. I'd like to get a look behind the curtain. He doesn't always let that happen with his info, but I think I lean CMC. I don't love it, but yeah, that's where I'm going.
Yeah, I think the recipe is too important to release it for that one. You're going to have to make that decision on your own.
Absolutely,
that's behind the paywall. I get it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's behind the not quite close enough friends wall. I believe, right? Oh, Zay Flowers is quick, but he's not very big. Daniel's
Also,
checking back in. Do we take Saquon play tonight, or should I play safe and play Hubbard versus Miami instead? Oof.
Well, we just watched Bob's injury report, and it said Saquon was in. So if that's the case, I am running with Saquon here.
Yeah.
Quick quiz, Derek.
I put my trust in Bob.
Anything. Yeah, Sky and Bob can't answer. Derek, who is the starting quarterback for the New York Giants? Without using your mouse.
Tyrod Taylor.
Bob.
Sky, did you hear that? What did I say?
Bob, what is this?
Isn't it Tyrod Taylor, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but Bob said
no. Wait, hold on. I think it's
Tyrod.
Tyrod. I think it's going to be. I think by the end of the night, it's going to be Tired Taylor.
Oh,
zinger! There we go. Right. All right. So, Sky, what do we think? Saquon or Chuba?
Yeah. The reports are Saquon Barkley. Chuba's not that good, but he would get the work. But I think Miami's going to be just fine. So I'll go with Saquon Barkley.
Robert, do we need to ask a Giants fan if they're going to start Saquon Barkley?
Honestly, I hate to say it, but I'm going to start Chuba. I honestly
That's a lie.
It's awful. The Giants' offensive line is just decimated. They can't do anything. And Tyrod, I don't have any faith right now. I would like to see it before I invest in it. I know the Bills' defense is extremely injured, but I think Chuba is going to probably get 5 to 6 receptions in garbage time anyway, just like Barkley might. But I could see them sitting Barkley in garbage time because he's the star, and Chuba's not. So Chuba's going to be in there probably no matter what. So give me Chuba over Barkley.
Bob, quick question. If you could take this current Giants team as is, injuries, whatever, talent, but you could have 2,000 Kerry Collins just put right in there, how many wins are you guys going to get?
Give me Jesse Palmer, pre-Bachelor. Okay, number 3. That's all I know. I used to hate Kerry Collins so much as a kid that I had a Jesse Palmer jersey, and I used to wear it to games. I hated Kerry Collins. It was
Kerry
the
Collins
guy was
got to the Super Bowl, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he didn't win, so I don't really care. And honestly, that Giants defense was legit. Listen, I'm not going to get into it right now because I'm not here to live in the past. All I can tell you, though, is I have a Jesse Palmer number 3 jersey, and am I proud of it? No. But at the same time, it's there. So it is what it is. I'm going to start hanging that puppy up. That's a winner right there.
Fair.
Bills have given up a 100-yard rusher in the last 2 games.
Fire him up.
Saquon, third one.
Yeah. For me, it's Saquon, and I would not be shocked if Saquon got close to week 4 Kamara with receptions. Check down Taylor is going to have to use him, right? And I don't know what's going to happen with Waller. I'm afraid that Waller was overdrafted in every single league. this year. He may be an absolute bust by the end of the year. And can we talk about Kerry Collins have the slowest release with the biggest cannon in the history of the NFL?
Yeah. Yeah, I was kidding. He's terrible, but shout out to Penn State.
Yeah, the quarterback machine, Sean Clifford, backing up Jordan Love in Green Bay. So we'll pivot off of Penn State quarterbacks because that's how bad it's gotten for me to be able to find something for Green Bay to talk about at this point. William Jones, who?
William Jones?
Yeah. By the way, Sky, you and I know why we do that. Bob, Derek, do you have any idea why I have Sky repeat anybody with the last name Jones?
Mike Jones. Come on.
Oh.
Who?
Yes,
Mike Jones?
Yes. All right, Derek, just maybe Google that a little bit later today.
I will. Yeah.
I appreciate Derek being dedicated to trying to be hip. He's like, you know what? I'll Google that. I want to be in next week. All right, I like that.
Derek's like, I'm going to watch TRL reruns and I'm going to get back.
Yeah,
to you.
That's right. That's right.
Guy, quick quiz. Do you remember Mike Jones' phone number?
Oh God, you'd have to give me a minute.
It's
no,
8004. I remember the last part.
Nice. We'll take it.
All right, so back to William Jones. PPR need a flex. Tyler Lockett, Dante Foreman, or KJ Osborne. And by the way, for those of you that are peeking into the football game here, Justin Tucker just kicked his 77th field goal this morning.
Dude, he's so amazing. Also, pseudo breaking news, although we don't use Ryan Tannehill in fantasy, he was carted off as well during the injury break. So Malik Willis is in if we haven't reported that already.
Yes, it's in the private chat, but nobody responded. So thanks for that, guys.
Got it. I can't see it. Sorry.
I have a very unpopular take on this. If Malik Willis shows anything here, I would love to stream him because he runs so much. Like if he just shows any improvement as a passer and he can get me 150 yards passing, then he can rush for 75 yards. Like that's a baseline that I love to see for fantasy. So I'm interested to see how he looks because he looked better this preseason than he did last year. So something in deeper names, in DFS stuff too, probably.
All right, guys, we'll get to the Malik Willis questions when they pop into the chat.
Thank you.
Right now, we're going to go PPO. I got to get this thing wrangled back. Derek, I apologize. It's going off.
Hey, you gave me plenty of time to Google Mike Jones. So
nice, boy.
Still tipping, baby.
Who?
Still tipping. Look at you. Look at you, dude. Nice.
Live research at its finest.
I'll tell you what. You come for the analysis.
Stay for the Mike Jones hype.
You stay for the hip hop references.
Hell yeah.
All right, but so William is probably a little more interested in our answer to this question. So for me, with 7 to 8 targets per game lately, it's going to be Tyler Lockett easily.
Tyler Lockett is most likely the smart decision, and he's safe. But, man, I got a hankering for some Kendrick Osborne today. Yep. I know the hype is around Jordan Addison. He's a buy for me in my article. Makes total sense. But KJ Osborne has been the number 2 when Thielen's gone down or whatever over the last 2 years, and Kirk Cousins loves him. So I would not be shocked if KJ Osborne's actually that top target in Minnesota. But I guess Lockett is safe for me, and KJ Osborne's more of a boom opportunity. So it kind of depends on like what style receiver you're looking for.
I mean, the other thing about Osborne is he's playing the Bears today. Like the Bears are terrible against outside receivers. And so that's another game that could be a lot of fun. Like, honestly, Kirk Cousins, for what it's worth, man, I know Justin Jefferson's not there, but Kirk Cousins could still sling it. So I think that game could be a fun one. I'm okay. I'm going to take Osborne in that game versus the Seattle playing against that Bengals outside perimeter defense. 9
targets for KJ Osborne with Jefferson and Addison in last week. 9 targets.
Does it change either one of your opinion that there's 30 to 50% chance of rain with some moderate wind gusts for Kirk Cousins?
Yep. Definitely don't love that. So I'm going to go. My official answer would be Lockett over Osborne. I'm just first time I'm seeing his name come across this morning. I just want to throw it out there that if you're in a pinch, you're streaming or whatever, I think he's a nice flex with big opportunity.
Yeah, I think he's a great DFS play too.
Same.
Can we back up for a minute, Derek? What is the weather report? What did you find in your research?
Yeah, so 3 games in particular are going to be affected by rain. There's some weather going across the Great Lakes. Vikings at Bears is probably the best of the 3. I just suggested 30 to 50% chance of rain with some moderate wind gusts. They're reporting it end zone to end zone. Cleveland is a little bit worse. Niners at Cleveland, better than 50% chance of rain and winds blowing diagonally across the field. And then
what's the miles per hour? Do you know?
30, 35.
30 mile per hour winds in Cleveland right now?
No, gusts. The wind gusts up to.
Gusts. I was going to say, what? It's not good.
Just moderate, but with gusts up to like 30 or so. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the weather tonight in Buffalo is projected to be the worst. 50 degrees, 60% chance of rain at kickoff. Although the winds will be a little bit lighter apparently, but yeah, so more chance of wet weather, sloppy field. So that might actually go back to our Saquon discussion before. Are they going to roll them out there on a potentially sloppy field? But those are the only 3 games affected by weather. Everything else looks pretty good.
I think that wouldn't that be a Foreman game if we think that weather would have any impact in that Bears Vikings game? Anybody have any? I think I would actually go Foreman if that's the case.
Yeah. If
anybody have any different opinions there?
No, I'm with you too. If it's going to be a mud fest, I'll go with Foreman because that seems to be right up his alley. But outside of weather, I'm going with Osborne. But if it's going to turn into a mud fest, then I like Foreman in that game.
I'm not reporting any weather in Cincinnati, so I still am on Lockett here on this question.
20-mile-an-hour winds. That's at 2:00 in that game. Interesting.
Okay.
That's Cleveland.
Yeah.
For the Cleveland game. That's something. That's notable. That definitely gets me a little worried about Ayuk, especially because he's more of the downfield guy. Amari Cooper, basically, forget it. I'm not going to deal with that nonsense. But that is notable. That is definitely something to think about, too, especially because Cleveland, we brought up earlier, is a yards after the catch defense. They get beat with guys after the catch. So that's Debo, Kittle, and CMC. So something there. Anybody have hesitation on Brock Purdy at all? And anybody have like a good pivot?
I mean, am I ranking? I mean, pivots. So, when you're talking Brock Purdy, you're talking streamers. So, I mean, maybe Geno was dropped during the bye.
Stafford.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. Stafford's in my top 10 if you can find him somehow. Sam Howell would actually be okay for me. If CJ Stroud is still around somehow, he's automatic.
Baker at home.
Baker at home and Jared Goff and Gardner Minshew is not a bad option either.
So you would start Gardner Minshew and Baker Mayfield over Brock Purdy today?
Let's see. On my rankings, I have Minshew lower, but I'm kind of adjusting as we go here now that I'm getting weather reports. Like, if it's gnarly, then, look, let's think of 49ers, right? On a good day, they might run 30 times. In a bad day against a team they should smash, they might not blow out the Browns because it'll be a sloppy game and they don't run up the score because they don't do as many plays, whatever. But the defense should be dominant and they should get the ball plenty and run the ball constantly. This might be an Elijah Mitchell fourth quarter kind of situation too, So Debo might get 5 carries. So if you're, bringing all that kind of stuff in there, then maybe you pivot off of Brock Purdy. But you're right. Brock Purdy's either going to get his numbers in the first half or he's not going to get them.
And Purdy, you're looking for 240 and 2, right? That's the robot. Yeah. That's what he gives you. So I don't know that you're going to get more than 240 and 2 out of Brock Purdy today. But you could get 4 touchdowns out of Minshew.
And good point. Minshew is going to sling it far more than Anthony Richardson did. So he's not going to have the rushing upside for fantasy points, but he is going to throw the ball more, which makes me love Josh Downs more. But just a different approach and division rival. Also, I'm not into the revenge game. I just think it's dumb. But he did used to play for Jacksonville, a little extra incentive there in that game for Minshew. So I do think he's going to have a good game this week.
And side note, Anthony Richardson came out today in the press and said he's considering season-ending surgery.
And it super sucks, but like,
Yep.
for him in a young career as a rookie, whatever, like once he gets over that mentally of like, I shut down my rookie season, it's obviously the best move.
They're not going to the Super Bowl with him this year. Even if he's fully healthy, they're not going to do it. Too much dysfunction with Jonathan Taylor. They're going to probably end up trading Zach Moss. So this is not their Super Bowl year. So it's the best. But so let's get back to William Jones. One word answers after the weather. After our little sidebars there, real quick. Derek, Lockett, Foreman, or Osborne?
Lockett.
Sky.
Lockett, because Lockett's not a weather concern, correct?
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah, so I'll stick with Lockett as well.
Bob?
Foreman.
Yep, Foreman for me as well.
50-50, hate those.
50-50.
Sorry, man.
Hate to do it.
His motto was a motto.
Hey, stay
Mike
clipping,
Murph,
though.
so how much time do we have? We've got about 25 minutes before we got to sign off. So we're going to start rapid firing through these questions real quick. Michael Murphy, team 2, he needs a running back, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. From Montgomery, Swift, wide receivers DJ Moore, AJ Brown, Olave, and Palmer. So he needs a running back, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. Derek.
Yeah, Palmer doesn't even come into the discussion for me on this one at all. So it's just a matter of one of the wide receivers. One of our wide receivers are Swift, and for me, I'm going to sit Swift. So Montgomery and the first 3 wide receivers for me.
Yeah. Montgomery, AJ Brown for sure, Swift, and man, this weather now, whatever. I'm gonna go DJ Moore as well.
Moore, Brown, Montgomery, Swift.
Moore, Brown, Montgomery, Swift for me as well.
More balls they stipping. Calm down, they dripping.
All right, Mike Murphy. Last one. He picked up Mustache Minshew to stream. Mayfield, Carr, Ritter, all available. Would you stick with Minshew Magic or pick up and stream one of the others? Derek, I know you're a fan of Ritter.
I did write about Ritter this week. If you hadn't read it yet, go check it out. I do like him, but I like the ceiling of Minshew greater. As much as we like Ritter, he did have his first 300-yard game last week. I mean, the Falcons could come out and run 75% of the time because, they just have the ability to do that. So a little bit of risk there. I do like him, but for me, it's Minshew. Like I said, he could throw that ball 65 times today, and I'll take every one of them. So I'm going Minshew.
And Derek, I just posted a link to your article at the bottom of the chat for folks that are dialing.
His mutta is a Ritter. Anyway, Mayfield is 1 spot higher than Gardner Minshew. Ritter and Carr are below him, so you could take a stab on Mayfield with Evans back, I guess. But I feel Gardner Minshew. Personally, I just don't think the Bucks can't run on the Lions though, so Mayfield may have a better shot. I'm kind of torn on those two.
I don't know if I'm ready to trust Ritter yet. I just think that's a trap. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I'm going to probably go with – give me Minshew. I'll go Minshew.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Minshew as well for the week. Beach, Kellen Moore is 35. Sky, can you help decipher that?
Kellen Moore is 35. This is either rankings from, what was it, 2014 maybe? Or it's just his age, which means nothing.
Okay.
So, Beach, I'm going to go with an audible. But he and Justin Herbert are buddies from back in the day, too, before he was on the Chargers. So, love that continuity.
All right. Thanks to you, Michael Murphy, for checking in. Filthy, thanks, guys. One more. Ertz or Ferguson? Oh, Derek's going to love this.
Fergie.
I am. Same article. the one and only time this year, probably I'm going to mention that name in writing as a recommendation. But Zach Ertz, he's got a great matchup today, and if I don't have one of the top 4 that maybe 5 tight ends that I trust, and that's the key, that you trust, not the names, not where you drafted them, but that you trust, then Zach Ertz is a good play. So yeah, go Zach.
I think it's I'm going to go the opposite way. In my article, I wrote about Jake Ferguson.
Woo.
And so here's the deal. I'm not going against Zach Ertz necessarily. I'm just playing devil's advocate and let Bob make the decision here. But until they played the 49ers, the Cowboys in that tight end room were doing well. So 7 targets in 3 of his 5 games. I like that a lot. So I'm actually going to go back to the well here with Jake Ferguson.
I'm going to go Ferguson as well. The Chargers have allowed the 4th most fantasy points to the tight end position in the receiving game specifically. So I'm going to go. I like that game too. It should be a fun shootout, potentially, probably not. But I'm going to go Ferguson.
It's Ertz for me. And I'll leave it at that. All right. Thanks, y'all. Kiefer goes back to he was leaning Mixon or Kirk. I think it's safe to sit Mixon this week. I'll take the 3 out of 4 vote. Awesome. So he's good with 75%. Good enough for government work, right, Derek?
That's right.
Yeah, man. C's get degrees.
Sky Empire. Oh, do we have a second burner? Should I start?
We had a Derek the other day too. It was really cool. We had a Derek.
We're up to 3 burners, Matt. I mean, really, we're just kind of waiting for yours, I think.
I haven't seen Bob's burner today.
He's down there.
He's down there.
It's coming.
Relax, guys. I have questions. I have questions, guys. All right, they need to be answered.
We'll see if we can get to Mr. Gannon, right? Quote unquote. All right, Sky. So we'll go to you first. I don't think we need to answer this. This is all for you. Geno Smith or Sam Howell, full PPR. I guess maybe if one of them slots out at wide receiver.
Yeah, PPR doesn't matter. I think what people mean by that when they say full PPR, I see it all the time. I think they mean 6-point versus 4-point, 6-point, whatever. Either way, I'm going to take just a nudge. I've got Sam Howell 1 spot ahead of Geno Smith. I just don't think Geno's that good. I also think the secondary is going to be fine for the Bengals, oddly enough. And I think they're going to run the ball crazy to keep Burrow off the field. So I'm going to go Sam Howell. He's ugly and it's scrappy, but he gets the points.
Derek?
Yeah, I have Sam Howell just slightly above Geno as well. So Sam for me.
QB5 last week.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Geno.
All right. Geno is for Bob. I'm going to go Sam Howell inside and another sneaky game where I think there's going to be a lot of air yards, which may help us with Jeff's question. Scary Terry inside or KJ Osborne with the weather? And it's PPR. And he's doubling down, so we can get after both. McLaurin or Osborne plus Herbert or Stafford.
All right, I'll go first if we're not jumping in here. I'm gonna go McLaurin and Herbert. I love Stafford, but I got to go Herbert, and I just think the Chargers smash up on the Cowboys today. Actually, I think coaching is going to be the difference in that one. Terry makes me nervous, but I do think they do well against Atlanta, although they have a shutdown corner. Quick question, guys. I don't want to get back into a 10-minute rant about the possible weather, but what I'm concerned about weather this time of year, where it's like maybe bad but not horrible yet, sometimes we go, uh-oh, there's rain and wind, and we just like fade the whole roster all of a sudden. And then you watch the game, and we text each other within 5 minutes, go, oh, shit, it looks fine. It's sprinkling. It's not a problem. Mm-hmm. And guys play the game as is. Like, maybe it's just back to Derek. Like, are we worried about the weather for KJ Osborne, or is it just a factor today because it's fall?
No, I don't think I'm worried. And actually, I think it maybe more is on Kirk Cousins, maybe affecting him a little bit more than the wide receivers, and just being a little less accurate or whatever. He doesn't scramble that much anyway. So, maybe he's more of a sitting duck there anyway against, what pass rush the Bears have. So no, I'm not scared away from the game or any of them for that matter. But I actually, I was gonna pick Osborne here. Again, it shows that I'm not as worried about the weather in this game.
Okay.
I just think that there's more opportunity for Osborne than for McLaurin, and I'm just not. I haven't been on the Terry McLaurin train at all this year, and I just think the ceiling is much better for Osborne. And then I'm gonna contradict you there. I'm gonna go Stafford as my quarterback pick. This one is tough. I don't think you can go wrong either way, but I just love that matchup. He's got all his weapons. They're healthy. I mean, let's just lift the lid off and let's see if the Rams have can resurrect some of those offenses of the past. I mean, they've got the tools to do it. So I think Stafford is my pick today over Herbert.
Yeah,
I'll change my vote really quick to KJ Osborne. I was just worried about the weather. Don't like the matchup for Terry.
Yeah, I'm going to go Osborne and Stafford as well.
I'm going Osborne and Herbert because you don't sit Herbert, right? You start Matthew Stafford because you are streaming quarterbacks or because you don't have a top 3 option. Well, Herbert's a top 3 option. Dallas can be beat. Dallas was just boat raced by the Niners. Justin Herbert coming off a bye. He's got Eckler back. Palmer knows the offense. So as much as I love Stafford and Derek and I are starting him, but we had Daniel Jones and that was our stream. So he is now on the waiver wire. So I'm going with Herbert. I think I would love to see Stafford go bananas today, and I think he will. But I'm going to take the safer bet with Justin Herbert for this week. Cameron Hill, welcome to the show. PPR, pick 2, Mixon, Walker, Mostert. I think I can answer for everybody. We've already answered this pretty much. I think it's Kenneth Walker and Raheem Mostert. Anybody disagree? Sky?
No, I've got all 3 of them within about 6 spots, but I do have Mostert and Walker ahead of Mixon.
Okay, cool. In Flextive 2K, what defense should I pick up? Normally we would ask Gladys this question. Falcons are not available.
Yeah, I got you. So again, waivers or whatever, so I'll just throw a bunch of names at you, see if they're available. I like the Lions if available against Baker in Tampa. I also really like the Saints versus Houston. They've been dominant and quietly there. I also like the Vikings against the Bears and potentially the Commanders versus Atlanta as well. And a sneaky play, I don't know if I have the stones to do this, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders somehow become like a top 5 DST this week against this horrendous Patriots offense.
Do you still subscribe to the thought we provided earlier when we talked about the Cowboys defense? If you have the Jets and you're going to ride them, it's probably not the time to drop them for a streaming option.
Yeah, but I'm not as I'm not as intense about that as I am with the Cowboys.
Okay.
Like the Cowboys, I just don't. Here's the problem: when you drop somebody, you need to make sure, you need to tell yourself, if I drop them and they get picked up, am I worried about that? Am I going to be disappointed that they get picked up somewhere else? Backup running back Khalil Herbert right now is getting dropped because you don't have an IR spot. Whatever, get him back in a couple weeks. No big deal if you don't. The Cowboys offense will not last through the weekend on waivers. So if you're okay losing them and you want to stream, go ahead. I'm not. They've been dominant until last week, so I'm going to hold on to them. But the Jets, I can move on from.
Yeah.
So
there might be an opportunity if you're working the trade angle, add them in as a second piece.
There you go.
That might be the tip for someone to pull the trigger.
And Sky, you said Dallas was dominant until last week. Who did they play last week?
I don't remember.
Anybody recall?
Nope.
No. Okay. I think it was on the West Coast, but I don't remember.
It's fuzzy.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's so late on the West Coast. I don't stay up to watch those games.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right. So our boy Zion went with, or he's going to go with Pittman and Devonta Smith. I think that's safe, right? I think we
Good
can
luck.
get behind that. MJ. Wow. the GOAT dialing in, the basketball greatest player ever, right?
Well, I would
Good on
imagine
the Giants fan for being realistic and not a homer, Bob. I think that's a shout out to you.
How do we?
Yeah,
Because you're the only Giants fan I've ever met. So
How do we know that's not? How do we know that's not Mike Jones?
who?
There it is.
wow.
I was
Derek.
hoping it was Michael Johnson.
The speedster.
Thank you. The gold shoes, guys. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard to beat gold shoes.
Or could it be Irvin? Magic Johnson.
It could be.
Never heard of him.
Could have been. All right.
The no look, Bob. I saw the no look.
Thank you. I'm over here just throwing out random jokes all day. No one even notices. Thank you,
I
man.
did. All right, Andrew, start 2, PPR, Olave, James Cook, and Ayuk. So another one. We've gotten a lot of Olave today. We've had our diatribe about James Cook. So, Derek, to you, let's get your 2.
Olave and Cook for me.
Guy.
Yeah. I just bashed Cook for about 20 minutes a while back. But I think it's going to be CMC all day long, and maybe Debo. So I'll go with Cook and Olave in this particular instance. I just hope they use them, man. It's bothering me.
Olave and Cook for me.
Guess what, folks? All 4. All right, all 4 of us are Olave and James Cook. Hiram Gatto Jr. Love when we have second generation into the show. Ingram or Pitts. By the way, the best tight end in Atlanta right now is Jonnu Smith. So, Derek, turn it over to you for Ingram. Or Pitts.
Ingram, pretty easily.
Sky.
Yeah, same.
Bob.
Ingram.
That's 2 in a row. We're going to go 4 back-to-back twice. We're all going with Ingram. Hiram Gatto, same question, but he said PPR. I don't think it changes what we're doing. By the way, somebody on this in this group has posted Mike Jones' phone number. You're welcome.
I got the last 4 right. That's good.
You did.
Yeah,
Nice.
that was actually really good. And follow that up with William Jones. Who?
William Jones?
Yeah. Mike Jones hype train. Somebody needs to reach out. Sky, you've got contacts in the music industry.
Yeah.
Can we get Mike Jones to be the 5th person here? We'll throw him right here in the middle of the screen.
I don't see why that would be a problem.
Yeah, I don't either. Let's make it happen. And by the way, I'm sure Gray will pay for all travel if we need to bring him into the studio.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Boys, need help on a flex play this week. Deep 14-team PPR league. Down to the following options. Yuck. Jamison Williams, Noah Fant, Cam Akers. And by the way, I'm going to go on record as saying the name is a shout out to Vince Vaughn in what movie where he said, cheese.
Old school.
Old school. And he was what's the name of the actor he was referring to?
He's like, oh my God. Did we put you in a dumpster once or something like that? He's like, I got out. I got out. And he's like, good.
I got it with those terrible glasses. Yeah. Jeremy Piven.
All right.
All right, Derek, over to you. I'm getting the whole show off track again.
We are still tipping.
Wow, this was tough. My gut is telling me that Akers is going to show up today.
Whoa.
I don't know if
easy.
I mean, I can't put any numbers to back that up. I just have a feeling that we're going to see Akers today against the Bears. Maybe it's garbage time in the second half. Give them time to work with the offense. I just have a feeling, but I do know that Noah Fant has a pretty good matchup against the Bengals, and so with a floor of the best floor to me is Noah Fant. If you're willing to take a chance and the rest of your lineup is stacked, roll the dice on Akers. That'd be my suggestion.
Yeah, just a quick question here. I know you're running out of spaces, but like Josh Downs, is anybody like that available that you could swap out quick? I know we're up against the wire, so it might be risky, but just a thought. Yes.
Salvin Ahmed.
There you go. Yeah. Them not having Jeff Wilson is going to be devastating, obviously. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. If you had to go with this particular group, Akers, I guess, sure, but that's tough.
Akers.
14 team is hard.
The only way I'm starting Akers is if it's David. So I'm going to go with
Wow, nice. Lefty.
I'm going to go with Noah Fant. And by the way, if you ever need something to help your Cowboy hatred, go back and watch the draft when David Akers takes the mic and reminds Dallas how terrible they are.
Dude, that was legendary.
Absolutely fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob, if you could stand up, maybe get ready to take a bow here. Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Lamarco's burner account needs one name, full PPR, B-Rob, Zach Moss, Chuba Hubbard. Derek, do you love any of these players?
No, I don't love them, but I just think volume. Chuba's going to have the volume. I'll go with Chuba.
Yeah, gross. I agree, and I just hope it's not another Zach Moss 200 yards, gentlemen, last week. I'll go with Chuba as well.
Chuba.
I'm going to go Brian Robinson just to be a little bit different. I don't love him against Atlanta, but I don't trust Chuba Hubbard either. All right, MJ is big run Spears. He's right. I watched that run. Ty J. Spears is fast, and he kind of put Derrick Henry on the bench at the end, even though Derrick Henry did have a big run touchdown. Bob, yes, is that what you're
I do want to say one thing. If you're in a dynasty league and you're not in contention, I wouldn't be making offers to Tajay Spears right now. I would just say, here's my win now player. Here you go. Give me Tajay Spears because I think he's going to be an absolute stud.
Yeah, he looks really good. Good hands. He's fast. He's decisive. I'm with you. Patricio, Pat Daddy is back. For what it's worth, Rudy does have Mixon ranked as the number 2 running back. Rudy's not on this show.
Rudy, however, you know what? Let me get back to you in 1 second. I'll hold my comment for 1 second, but keep going.
All right. Mike F. F stands for football or Florio. Cowboys played the Pats. Incorrect. That's not who they played. They played the San Francisco 49ers and got absolutely blasted.
Well, it's like the Niners played the Cowboys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. You put the Niners first in that sentence. Absolutely. Hunter Dahlberg sounds like an educated person has finally checked in. That's good. An actual first and last name. Bob, I'm going to turn this one over to you because you've been talking a little bit about your guy Ahmed. You like Ahmed or Charbonnet this weekend? And no, that's not your white or red wine. That's an actual football player.
Mostert's never been a high volume guy, and they like to give another guy work. And Ahmed has been good when given looks, and I think, and he's literally the number 1 matchup against the Panthers this week. So I'm going to go Ahmed. I think he gets 10 to 12 touches, and he's going to have a great – and there could be garbage time, and they're going to give him the rock. So I like that.
Yep. Yeah, samesies. Long term, I would like Charbonnet on my roster, but Ahmed this week.
Yeah, I'm good with that as well.
I will actually tell you this. I've got Charbonnet in a couple of DFS lineups with a buddy. So that means he's not going to hit, so we'll go with Ahmed.
Quick update, Matt. I just want to dial back a little bit. Rudy Gamble is 11th ranked of all ECR qualified Fantasy Pros rankers in the industry. He is leading the Razzball team at large. He is number 11. He is he is number 43 out of 250 ranking running back specifically, but he's number 11 overall, number 3 at tight end.
Very nice. Where you want to go ahead and pump up you and Bob? Where are you guys sitting for your position?
I am like dead last, to be honest with you.
Super.
I am a slow starter because I don't have projections, and I'm going to be the first one to admit I have literally no idea what I'm doing on that thing right now. So
yeah,
I'm not good right now.
The ranking thing is hard to explain to people that aren't involved with it because it's not just straight up like calculated rankings. It's like differential of things. It's a very strange algorithm of how it's calculated. I am currently sitting at 127 total on the season out of 250, so I'm like middle of the pack. But tight end specifically, I was number 3 2 weeks ago. I was number 10 in wide receiver week 1. Running backs are very difficult to rank because so many guys get hurt and then like backups you don't rank come in. So it's kind of weird like on this thing, and I don't rank DSTs or kickers, so I'm not sure.
We have an update. We have a 2-team brawl on the San Francisco 49ers sideline. The Browns came over to say good morning.
I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that for the Browns.
I don't either, and they're wearing the all whites. The Browns are, and
which they chose as the home team, and which is dumb. And Terrible.
Weather just and there's Debo right in the middle of it. Look at
Of course.
this.
Of course.
So
now, how's the weather
just-
though? Can you see the screen?
The weather doesn't look to be an issue. I don't see anybody with an umbrella.
No.
A lot of people without hats on. It seems fine. It looks good to me. All right, so let's knock out the rest.
Sorry, one last thing.
Yeah.
They just updated Saquon Barkley's status to he's been moved to a game time decision now. So
Oh boy.
just want to make sure we bring that up. If you are waiting on Barkley, if you don't have Breida as a backup, just keep that in mind. But he has been recently updated to a game time decision.
All right, boys, we got 4 minutes.
Yep. Time to go.
Half PPR, Mixon or Waddle. Everybody here is going with Waddle. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yes.
That is correct.
All right, Jefferson checking in. Great show, fellas. Appreciate it, Jefferson. Lindorphins, basically, this should be our mantra. Whoever you go with, cool, man. Good. Glad you did. Best of luck. All right,
Nice.
that's it. Go Browns. I'm not going to read that a second time. Sky, you do with that with you what you will. Remember, I sent you a link the other day.
Yeah.
Cheese. Thanks for the help. You're welcome. Bob, run us out of here. Put some music behind it, and let's get out of here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us once again on the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast on the Razzball Fantasy YouTube channel. I want to shout out all of the guys today being on the show. Matthew Styles, you can follow him at Styles08, Derek Favorite, Derek_Favorite on Twitter, and then Sky Gawasko, all one word, SkyGuasco. And of course, Bobby Lamarco. Follow me at Bobby Lamarco on Twitter. Thank you for joining us once again. We'll be back next week, every single week for the Sunday Live Start Sit Show. And see us tomorrow and early next week as we break down the biggest takeaways, waiver wire, and more. Thank you for joining once again. We are out of here, folks.